Hello, grade 9s. We are beginning the next unit. We do have one more unit, so I'm hoping to get through this one quick because I want to make sure you've seen everything before the summer. And if you are watching this, thank you for continuing to look into this stuff, watch it, try it, and take it seriously. Mostly at this point because when you get to grade 10, it's going to assume that you know all this, right? Any one of your classmates who had math first semester had this full course in class. So they're already going to be at a bit of an advantage, and if you've just chosen not to bother, then you're really going to struggle. And I might not be talking to you because you're doing this, but tell your friends to watch the stuff, even if it's after the school's done, July and August. Just get ready. And those two linear units, units 4 and 5, are so important for next year. This stuff not as important for next year, but it's easy. So this is a nice way to boost up your mark near the end of the course here. All right, so the unit's called geometry. The first thing I want you to do is think about, because you can't really tell me, think about angles. What do you know about angles? Okay, so what do we know? Angles can be acute, less than 90, obtuse, more than 90, right angle, 90 degrees. Angles in a triangle add to 180 degrees. That's very important, probably the most important thing. All right, if you knew those things, you're good to go. If you didn't, now you do. Here we go. Parallel lines. This is your handout. I'm going to define these terms for you. Parallel lines are two lines that run in the exact same direction and never meet. A transversal is a line that cuts through two parallel lines. Well, two or more. Usually two, but sometimes more. So let me show you what this is. So we've got two parallel lines here. Oop. Two parallel lines and a transversal. And we know that lines are parallel, even if they don't look it, if they have these arrows. And just because they look parallel, you can't assume they are unless they have these little arrows telling you they're in the same direction. So let's get into this. In class, we would have done this with a protractor. Instead, I'm going to use a simulated protractor to measure these. You don't really need protractor skills for this. We very quickly move outside of a protractor and do this stuff algebraically or with math. So angle N, if I remember how to do this correctly, which apparently I don't, I should somehow be able to adjust this angle, but I don't know how to do that. Get out of here. Anyway, if I go down here, okay, we know, let me get rid of this thing. Sorry about that. My son's also crying upstairs. Mom's with him, so he's not alone, don't worry. All right, so let's zoom in. I'm going to lay this down here. We're going to measure angle N. All right, so to measure angle N, we start here, and we go up, we keep going, we keep going, we keep going, keep going, and here it is. So it's about 120 something. And there is a way. Oh, there we go. Yes. I knew there was a way. 121 degrees. So that's angle N. It goes from here all the way. So angle N is 121 degrees. And let's measure angle N. So to measure angle N, we go all the way to here. And I don't want that. Sorry, this will be done very soon. I'm not going to do all these angles. I'm just going to do, yeah, there we go. I'm just going to do two of them. So let's flip this around and put this guy here. And to measure angle M, I'm going to use this thing again. And 59. Wait, no, it was 60. 60 degrees. I just clicked it at the end there. So angle M is 60 degrees. Now, you might not know it yet, but you have all the information you need to tell me every single other angle in here. Now, maybe you don't know how to do that yet. That's what today's going to be. But I would love for you to pause it, try it, and then come back. Okay. So, if angle N is 120, you may have guessed that angle P is also 120 degrees. And if angle M is 60, you may have guessed that this is 60 degrees. And then let's go down to these ones. So you might not have guessed it. You might have guessed it. You might remember the Z pattern. But angle Q and angle O are the same. And I wanted to do that in purple. So angle Q is also 60 degrees. And then angle S is 60 because they're across from each other. And I'm going to give you lots of terms today that'll actually help you do this properly. And angle T and angle R are both blue angles. That's what I meant to do there. And they're the same, and they're 120 degrees. Okay, so I haven't really taught you anything yet. I'm going to do that soon. So angles that are equal. So angle M equals angle Q equals angle O equals angle S. And angle N equals angle R equals angle P equals angle T. Now, they want us to list pairs of angles that add up to 180-ish. Now, because I did this for you, that's going to be exact. In class, usually students are off by a degree or two or can be off by a degree or two. So I'm going to say M plus N equals 180 degrees. P plus O equals 180 degrees. M plus P equals 180 degrees. N plus O, oh my goodness, this could go on forever. I think that's good for now. Let's also say that O and R, O plus R, equal 180 degrees. And similarly, P plus Q equals 180 degrees. Again, don't worry, I haven't taught you the ins and outs yet. I'm going to do that now. Okay, so these are the rules of parallel lines. This goes in your note. This is the lesson. So if you've kind of been half paying attention or not understanding till now, I'm going to make it very clear right now how these things work. And first I'm going to tell you these two lines are parallel. If I forget in a later example, these two lines are going to be parallel every time. All right, so we've got corresponding angles, or the F pattern. They have the same position with respect to the transversal. So you might remember this. The parallel lines make the two parts of the F, and underneath these two angles are the same. And that's called the F pattern, or corresponding angles. Next one, Z pattern. People always seem to remember this one from elementary school, so let's go ahead and do it. We got the Z pattern. Remember, these two lines are parallel. If they're not, we can't do this, but we know there are because I'm telling you. These two angles will be equal by Z pattern. And there's actually a backwards Z pattern, which looks more like an S. Okay, so you see that one there? That's a Z pattern as well, even though it's backwards. And then these two angles would be equal, okay? And I'll make them X's in case you're using a black and white monitor for some reason. Maybe you're back in time, back in the 60s or 70s or 50s. I don't know when black and white TV was a thing. So yeah, that's Z pattern. There's two of them. Here's the two examples. I'm going through this fast because we're going to do a bunch of examples. All right, these lines still parallel. Now we've got co-interior angles. You probably didn't learn this one in elementary school, but when we have co-interior angles, these two angles have a sum of 180, or dot plus x equals 180 degrees. Okay, and then we have another C going backwards as well. You can see that one down here. So that's a bit different. They add to 180, don't forget that. All right, next one. X pattern. This is the easy one. Everybody always seems to remember this one. So in X pattern, these angles are equal. The open circles are equal. The X's are equal. And oh no. And I'm going to change color here. and the blue squares are equal. So lots of X patterns. You can spread these out and do two different diagrams as opposed to one crazy one. Remember these angles, these lines, sorry, are parallel. So in the X pattern, what we have is this. We have an X. Okay? And when we have that X, these are the same and these are the same. Okay, and then we have the lower X as well. I like how it straightens out my terrible lines. So then this and this are the same, and this are the same. Okay, so that's X pattern, or opposite angles. And then we've got corresponding, okay, so now we're done those, now we're going to do some practice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do two of each and leave the other two to you. So this one, it's telling us that it's F pattern. We know that these lines are parallel because we've been told they're parallel. So I draw this one, and then I get my F going here. Okay, and the way that this works is that this and this are the same, and this is what we write. X equals 42 degrees by F pattern. Now, this one little question would be worth 2 marks. You would get 1 mark for the right answer and 1 mark for saying by F pattern. Okay, so it's very important that you tell me which is which. Okay, next one. We've got the line of our F, and there's our 2 branches, or whatever you want to call them. So we know that because this is an F pattern, these are the same. So we would say X equals 34 degrees by F pattern. Now I would like for you to do these 2. Okay, next we've got Z pattern. So when I give you questions for real, I won't tell you every time what everything is. But for now, we're just getting started here. So here I would say X equals 42 degrees by Z pattern. Because in a Z pattern, angles are equal. And then I'll come over here, and I'll draw in my Z there. And because these are both tucked in the Z, we know that X equals 34 degrees by Z pattern. Again, that's 2 marks. 1 for the answer, 1 for telling me why. You go ahead and try the next 2. And I will tell you that this is 102 and this is 124. Just in case you weren't wondering. Co-interior. Here's where things get hard. These questions are usually worth like 3 marks each. So I draw my C, and I know that these 2 angles add up to 180. So X equals 180 minus 42. X equals 138 degrees by C pattern, or co-interior angles. Now this is 3 marks. 1 for the calculation, 1 for the answer, and 1 for telling me how you know, or what pattern it is. So now I'll do this one. We've got C pattern again. And yes, this is repetitive. I've tried this in the past and it's worked out well. It helps students remember. So 180 minus 34. 180 minus 34 is 146 degrees by C pattern. Again, 3 marks. Show me all 3 parts. Okay, opposite angles or X pattern. So for this one, I draw the X. This one's easy. You don't even need parallel lines for this one. It's just 2 lines that cross each other. So X equals 42 degrees by X pattern. And then I come to the next one. And I get, I'm not going to use yellow. X equals 34 degrees by X pattern. You go ahead, do the last 2 there. All right, now here's the tricky practice. I want you to find the value of all the missing angles, every single one. So we've got one example, and then it's homework time. Okay, so here we go. And watch how I do this. So first, I'm going to say W equals 48 degrees by X pattern. And then I'm going to say, so this is 48. And then check this out. I have got a Z pattern. So I'm going to say, now watch closely here, Y equals 48 degrees by Z pattern with W. You see what I did there? I had to say with what? With W, because they make a Z. Okay, now angle X equals, well, for X, we've got a C pattern here, and we know that C pattern means they add to 180. So X equals 180 minus Y, which is 48. So X equals 180 minus 48, 132. And that was C pattern, because we had to subtract, with X, because X and Y make the C. And then finally, the easy one, Z equals 132 degrees. Wait, what? No. X is the same as Y. So what I did there is I just looked at the last angle, which was wrong, because these two are the same. So Z equals 48 degrees by X pattern with angle Y. Now the reason I knew that was wrong is because that's an acute angle, so it can't be 132. That just doesn't make sense. Let me show you how the marking works for this. 1 point for the right answer here, 1 point for X pattern. Y here we get 1 point for 48 degrees and 1 point for Z pattern with W. If you just said Z pattern, you get a half point there. And then for X, we get a point for the calculation, a point for the answer, and a point for C pattern with X. Again, if you don't say with X, you lose a half mark. Finally, 48 degrees, X pattern with Y is going to earn you a mark. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 of the easiest marks you will ever earn in any math class. All right, folks, so I'm going to leave it there. This, number 1, number 2, I guess there's no number 3. It jumps to 4, 5, 6, 7. It's a lot of homework. I really encourage you to do it. I will post a video for the solutions so that you can see how I did every single one. But I really encourage you to try it, and then you'll sort of see where you're going wrong. Again, tell your friends to take a look at this stuff, help set them up for next year, in particular units 4 and 5. Very important to grade 10. Good luck, and thanks a lot for watching.